Hello violinists, welcome to Prime Strings. I'm Henriette and today we're learning Distant Bells from the Fiddle Time Joggers book. Now in this piece a couple of things are happening, and you may also have noticed that we are going to learn some slurs, and slurs are when you play two notes connected with that little wavy line. So that means that those two notes are going to fit on one bow. Now I suggest that we practice some slurs at the start of this lesson before we are going to put the whole piece together. So why don't we practice slurring an open D string with an open A string? So we're going to start down bow on the D string, and when you've reached the middle of your bow, and I'm hoping you might still have a marker like a sticker or a little dot in the middle of your bow, so when you hit that marker you're going to the A string. So we're starting on D, and you can do this with me right now. D, and now keep bowing in the same direction, but go to the A string. That's it, now you've played your first slur. Congratulations, that's really good. Shall we do that again? So we're starting on the D string. Here we go. When you hit the middle, keep travelling with your bow in the same direction. Now let's hold it here for a moment. And now we can go back the same way. So we go and do an up bow slur. So we're going to go on the A string. And now hop across to the D string. And again. Oh, that is getting easier now, isn't it? At first it can be a bit confusing, thinking which way is my bow going, but very soon you'll get used to it. Now we have known for some time that you cross strings with your elbow and you adjust your elbow levels. So now I suggest we use that technique to go from one string to another. So we're starting again on D. So my elbow is a little bit higher. Now I'm going to drop my elbow, and that makes me go to the A string and go the other way. Now lift your elbow up. And again. Drop your elbow. That's it. And lift your elbow. Wow, that's it. That's all there is to slurs. Now slurs make your music more smooth, more legato, that's called in Italian. Okay, so if we use our elbow levels, that's going to go very, very smoothly from one string to another. Now, we can not only play slurs when we cross strings, but we can also play slurs when we connect two fingers. So for instance, an open string and a finger, and let's practice that on the A string. So I'm going to slur an A and the first finger on A. You can do this with me if you like. A. One. So when you're in the middle of the bow, you put your finger down, and then when you're at the end of the bow, you take your finger off. Let's practice that again, shall we? On the A string, A, finger, take your finger away, finger, and again, take your finger away, now put your finger out. Awesome. Now we can also slur from the first finger into the second finger. So let's do that, shall we? We're still on the A string. Have noticed that every time I get past the middle of my bow, something happens to my finger. Now this time, let's start on 3 fingers on the A string. And now we're going to take our third finger away during our slur. And we'll just do this one slur here. So starting on 3 fingers on A, take your finger away. And let's do that again, shall we? Start on 3 fingers. And take your third finger away. One more time. Start on 3. Take your finger away. And one more time. Good. Now let's take one other finger away, the second finger, and we're going 1 to 0. Let's practice that again. Take away. Pop your finger down. Take it away. One more time. That's so good. That's so good. So you're already very good suddenly at slurring, aren't you? Very good. So let's look at the end of line 1 now, because here we've got the same section as what we've just practiced. So you start 3 on the A string, 2, and now 1, 9. Shall we do that again? This is bar 3. Start 3 fingers on the A string. Ready? And 1. Awesome. Very good. And now you also may have noticed the reason why we said in the last lesson, leave your fingers down whenever you don't need them. Because when we start on the 3rd finger and we take our fingers away, we need to have that 2nd finger in place, you see. So let's do bar 3 again, shall we? Make sure fingers 1, 2 and 3 are all on the string. Here we go. And now let's read on. Let's have a go at bar 4. So this is the last bar of line 1. Now here we start on a 3 and then we go straight to a 1. So this time I'm slurring and I'm taking 2 fingers away. So let's start 3 fingers on the D string, shall we? And now take both fingers away. Shall we try that again? Let's put all your fingers down. And 3, 1, D. Go on then, let's do it one more time. Starting with all your fingers on the D string and I'm so impressed with your slurring. That's awesome. Now let's now play bars 3 and 4. So in bar 3 you start with 3 fingers on the A string. Have you got all your fingers down in the correct pattern here? So fingers 1 and 2 have got a space. Fingers 2 and 3 are together. Ready? And take a moment to get all your fingers down. Let's do that again, shall we? 3 fingers on the A string. And hold on a moment. 1, 2, 3. That's coming. Very good. Now let's shift our focus again now to the bow. And now I want you to check that where you take your finger away is at the middle of the bow. So we share that bow out evenly amongst the 2 notes that we're slurring. Let's start now. 3 fingers on the A string again. Are you in the middle? Go. Finger. Are you in the middle? In the middle. Can we do that one more time? Really focusing on the middle of your bow. And in the middle. And you have perhaps also noticed that my bow strokes really start right here and finish right at the point. So I'm not sneakily making those bow strokes shorter. No, I'm keeping using both ends of the bow. Now you have covered the hardest aspect of this piece. So let's go back to the beginning now and let's play from the start. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those of you who have followed this whole series, you know that I am very keen on patterns, and I'm hoping that you have observed the very clear pattern that there is in this piece, and that is that it is 3 times the exact same thing. The only difference is that the volume, the dynamics change. So first time you play mezzo piano, which means medium quiet. The second line, mezzo forte, and mezzo forte means medium loud, so that is a step up, a little bit louder than how you started. And the last line is piano, and piano means soft, so you get medium soft, a little bit louder in the second line, and then really quiet at the end. Now I find it much more important, however, that you focus on those slurs and on something else, and that something else is what we're going to think about next. When we play 3 fingers on the A string here, the letter name of that note, perhaps you can guess that. I'll give you a moment to think about it. What might be the letter name of 3 fingers on the A string? Now you might think A with no fingers is called A, so A with 1 finger is called B, the second finger is called C sharp, and the third finger is called D. Now this D here, the third finger on A, should blend in really nicely with an open D string. And I'd like you to practice these 2 together. You know how to play double stops now from Stamping Dance that we did before. So let's play these 2 notes together. And I want you to listen out that these 2 notes will start to melt together, and they will melt together when they are perfectly in tune. So if you're not quite in tune, they might clash, those 2 notes. Ah! Or if you're too flat, oh, that will sound horrible. But now listen to this. You see, those 2 notes are going to melt together and become one. And that is what's called a perfect octave. You play a low D and you combine it with a high D, and those 2 Ds become one. So that is what we're aiming for. So when you practice this piece, you want to play the D string along with your third finger on A. For practice, that is. So you might start your tune like this. You know for sure that your third finger is in the correct place. So let's play it again now, but let's build in regular pauses so that we can check our octaves. 3, 4. And play your D along. Now think for a moment. Were you too sharp initially, or were you too flat, or were you absolutely perfectly precisely right? In that case, you don't have to change anything, but if you find yourself playing too sharp, Next time when in bar 2, try to go a little bit lower, and the opposite is also true. If you found yourself a little bit too flat, in bar 2 play a little bit higher with your fingers. Now let's play bar 2. And was that better than before? I hope so. I hope you keep on improving. Now, you also may have noticed that my fingers, when I play the open A string, my fingers are just hovering above that spot. Try not to lift your fingers up too far, because that means you need to travel all the way back, you see. So when you lift your fingers up, when you play an open A string, leave your fingers just hovering just above that spot and don't lift them up higher than you need to. So I'm now going back to the beginning and practice that once more, keeping my fingers closer. Ready? And hover. Much better, much improved. Wow. Shall we do that one more time? And that time we'll carry on. And now add your slurs. Lovely job. You have now covered the two main aspects of this piece. So you've learned your slurs and you've learned to tune with an open string. Now, those of you who have thought it through a little bit more may have observed that there is a third finger also in the last bar of each line. That third finger is on the D string. So if you've done it correctly, that third finger on the D string, you've guessed it, should blend in with the G string, with the open G string. So if you've done it correctly here, I'm now going back to bar 3. So this D should match with the D string. Now this third finger should match with the G string. So this is how you can polish this piece further, so get even more precisely in tune. And that is what you are going to be developing in the course of the next few days and maybe 2 weeks or so. You want to keep playing this piece over and over and get better at tuning your third fingers to your open strings. Now there is something else that you can practice and fine and polish in your playing as well, and that is the beginning. And I know that we've talked about this many times in the past, except we haven't yet today in this lesson. I want you to play those 2 crotchets at the very start with half a bow. So you go up to the middle and back, and then the whole bow. Next bar, you go from the point to the middle. See how nicely that is structured and how nicely it fits on the bow. So you may have noticed that there are so many different things that you can practice on a piece like this. please don't try to get them all right at once. Okay, if that happens, congratulations, that's awesome. But for most ordinary people like myself, we are having to practice each of these aspects individually. Eventually, one day they will all integrate, but it would mess up my simple brain if I was going to try and do everything at once. So please don't even aim for it. Fit in different practices where you focus on different things. And I think we've said this many times in the past as well. Split your difficulties, because there are so many things now to be thinking about. Of course, every practice session also should include just playing for fun and not bothering too much with all those technical details. Yes, there is definitely a time for practicing and a time for having fun, and that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to go a notch faster, and we're going to put it all together without bothering too much about the techniques. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope you enjoyed that. It sounds almost like you're coming close to those bells and then drifting away from it again. Have fun practicing this, and I very much look forward to seeing you again soon. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, do please use the comment section below this video, and I will answer your questions as they come in. Goodbye.